Okay, so I picked this guitar up for my son. It's a used guitar, and I'm going to take it through and do a string change and a complete setup. I figure I'd just make this video so he can watch it back and know how to take care of his guitar, and maybe this can help some other people too. So this is a fixed bridge guitar. So this kind of setup will work with any guitar with a similar setup. It doesn't have to be an Ibanez. So let's get to it. All right, so first we're going to need a variety of tools here. So if you don't have everything here, that's okay. We can get through with some other things, but going to need like a little cleaning cloth. Um, Show you what I use to clean the fretboard. I use this uh, Gorgamite. Um, it's good stuff. Really easy to use. I've got the Ibanez manual here. I've got a little cup, and just in case I have any screws or anything that I need to keep track of. I've got a variety of tools here: screwdrivers, a toothbrush, some snippers, string winder. I have some measuring gauges, a capo, um, multi-tool that has the Allen wrenches. If you don't have multi-tool, you're going to need Allen wrenches. We have some guitar picks here, um, and a set of strings. And I've got this little scraper thing that I use for cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to take off the old strings. So the first thing we want to do is we want to decrease the tension on the strings. Now you don't have to go all the way with this, just get some slack on it. I'm just going to do that to each string. All right, that should be enough there. All right, and then I'm going to take this little snipper tool here. I'm just going to cut these strings right on down the middle here. All right, so I'm going to take these off one at a time, and I'm going to be careful not to scratch the guitar as well, or poke your fingers or anything. So, oh, there we go. Got a disaster happening. All right. Yeah, you can tell an amateur put these strings on here. All right, then on this other side here, we got the bridge side. All right, so we got the strings flopping around on the top. I'm just gonna swing this up here, and you can see on the back, right here, this is where the strings come out. So if you just push them through here, and boom, they're out of there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, take a toothbrush through here and get some of the debris out of the bridge, all that skin and all that kind of stuff. Get that out of there. Then I'm gonna take this little microfiber cloth and just give it a once over. Okay, here I'm gonna use this Gorgamite, and so basically there's a little sheet of this stuff in there, and you cut off a little chunk. So I have a little square like this. So basically, we're just going to take take it down the frets here and the fretboard and just rub back and forth. You don't have to press super hard or anything. But I like to do this at a section at a time. And I kind of like to hit the fretboard a little bit heavier at first, and then I'll go back over the frets. The reason why I like to do that is because you can see that they get really dirty pretty quick. So here I'm just going to do this little section down here up to the 12th fret. And then when I come back through, I'm going to hit the frets kind of hard. Then I'm going to go through with another cloth and just buff it. It's pretty simple. I've used this on all my guitars for years, and it gives a real nice smooth feel to the frets, and it really, in my opinion, it looks like it conditions the fretboard very well too. So yeah, so we're just going to continue to do this on down, all the way down here. All right, so next I'm going to go ahead and take care of cleaning where the strings go through on these little slots right here. So I have this little tool that I use to measure the truss rod. If you don't have one of these, you can use something that's thin. I just wrap a paper towel and I just kind of go through here a couple of times just to make sure that I get any kind of dirt out of this. I want the strings to be able to slide through there very easily. Now it's time to put on a set of strings. So here I use the Diodario NYXL. These are 10 through 46. It's kind of my preference. You can use whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, man. You don't have to get all stressed about it. Pick something that you like, just go jam, So I'm going to use these today. These are also color coded here. It shows you, which ones go where. So we're just going to unravel the strings here. On the back of the guitar, just going to flip it up like this. This is another reason why I like the RG. I can just set it up like that. I can just put the strings through. Just one at a time. Of course, if it's not self-explanatory, so the top one is going to be your thickest string, your E string. All right, now that we have the strings coming up through the back of the body, got to make sure that they don't pop out of here when we go to attach the strings to the post. So as you're doing this, you're going to want to pull up on this to make sure that the string is not popping out of the back of there. Okay, so I'm going to pull the string through the post here. I'm going to make sure it's not popping out of the back of the guitar. I'm going to pull it all the way tight. And if you can see, I'm going to come up to this next one here and mark it with my thumb and just kind of come back. See? Like this, right? This is going to allow me to wind the string around the post, adequately. At least like 3 times is what I'm shooting for. So we want it to wrap around the post in this direction. I'm holding the string kind of tight so it's not flipping all over the place. Now when you see the string doing this, kind of watch out here. This can scratch a guitar. It's okay to stop for a second. There we go. I'm going to do that to each one of the strings. And now it's time to trim the strings. So just go one at a time. Doesn't really matter, they're not going to slip out of there. There we go. Next, we're going to measure string height. So we're going to measure this at the 14th fret. So this is the 12th fret with the 2 dots. The next dot up here, 13, 14, we're going to measure it this fret right here. So Ibanez recommends on the 6th string 2.2 millimeter to 2.4 millimeter. And on the high E string, it's going to be 1.5 millimeter to 1.7 millimeter. So we're going to have to make these adjustments on all of these strings separately. Now, if you don't have a ruler where you can measure this, you can also do this with guitar picks. If you have like a little variety pack of guitar picks, there's different thicknesses in there. You can add them up. So, if you need, here's a 1.0 millimeter, here's a 1.7. So we have 1.7 here if we stack these. So if you don't have a ruler, just use some, be creative, use some guitar picks. It works. I use it all the time. Okay, and to adjust the string height, we're going to use this 1.5 Allen wrench into these bolts here on this particular bridge. So, you can raise and lower this thing, but there's 2 of them. There's one on each side, and you want to make sure that your saddle here is level and it's not wonky. You can see here that I have to level all of these. So I'm going to take some time to do that, level them all out. I'm going to measure each string individually. I'll probably end up doing is, measuring the 3 wound strings as they recommend the height towards this side, and the 3 plain strings down towards here, the 1.5 to 1.7 millimeter here, and then the 2.2 to 2.4 over here. Okay, the guitar is all tuned up. We have the string height adjusted. All the saddles are level. The next step is adjusting the truss rod. This can be very intimidating for some people, but it's really not that tough of a job And most of the time, your guitar probably doesn't need it. All right, so there's going to be some tools that we're going to use. We're going to use a capo, and I also have a little truss rod gauge. You can pick one of these up at the guitar store. So I'm going to put the capo on the first fret. And I'm going to hold down where the fret where the body meets the neck here. And here, this is the 15th, 17th, this is the 19th fret here. And then I'm going to take my feeler gauge. So we're looking for a height of 0.3 to 0.5 millimeter at the 8th fret. So right in here. So yeah, we can see here that there's no gap whatsoever. So this guitar is probably buzzing pretty good right now. So we're going to have to adjust that. Okay, so I've loosened the D and the G string and I pulled them out of the way. Now it's real important that when you're adjusting your truss rod that you take your time with this. You might have to go back and forth a couple of times, but it's real important to get your strings out of the way. And if your wrench is touching your string, then you're going too far. You might need to loosen another one. Now, when we did the neck relief measurement, there was not enough gap when we measured it. The string was basically right up against the fret. So I'm going to loosen the truss rod about a quarter turn. Same concept as the screw, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Now you might have to come back and do this again so we need to tighten up the strings again, tune it up, and do another measurement on the truss rod to make sure that we have nailed our measurement. Okay, now that I've adjusted the truss rod, I have put tension back on the strings. I've tuned them all up again. I've gone through this process a couple of times so I can measure the gap here at the 8th fret. Remember, we put the capo at the 1st fret. We hold down here where the body meets this fret here, and we hold down the string. We come into the 8th fret and we make our measurement. And finally, we've got this one set. So now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to check the string height here at the saddles. So we'll take our measuring tool, and at the treble side we're looking at 1.5 to 1.7. On the bass side we're looking for 2 to 2.2 millimeter up off the fret here. So we're going to adjust that here. So if you need to raise the strings or lower the strings, you're going to do that right here at this point. Okay, now that I've got that out of the way. Now I've already went ahead and I've measured this, so I'm going to take the capo off when I measure those string sets. All right, you want tension on the strings, the capo off, measure your strings, measure your string height. Now this doesn't mean that it's in the place where it needs to be. So now we're going to check for fret buzz. So I already know that my truss rod is adjusted because I have an appropriate gap here. However, all guitars are a little bit different, so these frets might not be level. There might be a problem with how the neck is set in here, but we're just going to try to get this as close as possible. So next I'm going to check for fret buzz. Now you can hear fret buzz here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise the saddle just a hair until this fret buzz is gone. I can kind of hear a little bit. I kind of turn these a little bit at a time just to make sure the saddle is even. Looks like I got rid of the fret buzz there. Okay, so anytime that you make an adjustment here at the saddle, say that you have some fret buzz and you raise the saddle a little bit, you're going to have to retune your string because it's going to put tension on the string. If you're lifting this up even so slightly, the tension on the string is going to go up and your pitch is going to go up. So you need to retune it and then check for fret buzz again. And the next step is we're going to check the intonation. So what that means is we want to make sure that the distance from the saddle and the nut is proper. So when we hit a note on this part of the neck, that when we hit that note one octave higher, it's going to be the same note. Okay, so when we hit the open string, it should be the same at the 12th fret, and it should also be the same at the 12th fret harmonic. So if you're sharp or flat, you're going to adjust accordingly. So say that you're sharp, say that the tuner is going, in this direction, you need to move the saddle back. Now, if you're flat on the note, when you hit the open string, or if you hit the 12th fret and you see some flatness, you're going to take the saddle and you're going to move it towards the nut. So you can see here that we have the open string E, 12th fret, we've got an E, it's slightly sharp here, and then the harmonic is right on. So we're going to do that to each saddle, and we're going to repeat the process for each one. Now remember, anytime that you're adjusting the saddle, if you're going back or if you're going forward, anytime you make a move, before you make that move, you're going to take the tension off the string. You'll tune it down. Let's do one together. Let's do the A string. We got A. You can see that I'm sharp here at the 12th fret. So I need to move this saddle back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tension off the string. Just loosen it up. Okay. Now I'm going to tighten this screw to bring this saddle back a little bit. Now it's ever so slightly sharp. So now I'm going to tune it back up. So see, the note is the same: open, 12th fret, and harmonic. So I'm going to repeat that step for each one of the strings. Okay, so I have adjusted the intonation here at the bridge. You can see over here. Got all the saddles where they need to be. So the next step that we must do again is we got to go through and check everything again, because we moved the saddles quite a bit. This is going to change the string height adjustment. So we're going to go through. I'm going to take another look, and I'm just going to get my fine tuning. I'm going to double check it now. Check all the string heights. The truss rod is still okay. You don't need to worry about that, but I would, readjust the string height, make sure it's all in tune, stretch your strings out. You don't want to yank on them super hard, but, stretch them out a little bit, get it all in tune, and then it's ready to rock and roll. So, thanks for checking out the video. If this was helpful for you, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and, there's going to be more content coming. Thank you guys.